Hi, hello, how are you? I have been in a reading slump for the past 𝐤𝐻𝐳 a month. It's been a good month since I've completed a book. The last book I completed, also look at my stack, guys. Like, I know this is nothing. Like, I don't even have a bookshelf in my room, so like that's something that's gonna need to be fixed once I need that. But like, look at my little book stack. Isn't she so cute? The last book that I finished was this girly right here, Crown of Midnight. And that was loads of fun. But then what happened was I started reading this girly right here. So if you're not aware of this is Heir of Fire in the Throne of Glass series. Long ass series. I breezed through Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight. Those were phenomenal books. Like, I loved them. The pacing of them was just phenomenal. And then I get to this book, and if you've read the Throne of Glass series, you know some people either this is their favorite book because they love the new characters introduced, or for some people this is the slow book because they're like, who are these characters that you just introduced to me? And for me, it's the latter. For me, I'm like I understand and I like that the world is expanding because we still have like 4 more books left to go. But I think this book was it's just a bit slow for me. Like, it feels like a lot of world building for the other characters, and I'm not a big world building fan. Sidebar. But like the way that Sarah J. Maas ate up Throne of Glass, I will never comprehend it. That was the first book ever where I jumped onto the first page and you're already in it. Like, there was no escaping it after the first page. And I feel like I need something like that again because everything else, there needs to be a setup. I'm not getting through the setup. So I'm not DNFing it. Like, I'm gonna finish it because I'm going to finish this series. I'm going to finish this series. That's on hold. I had this book. This is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. Why did I purchase this book? Because the cover looked pretty. And then of course I read the blurb and I was like, oh, it takes place in New York. This is gonna be cute, fun, and fresh. I don't really like it, but how far am I in it? I got 55 pages in. And it's just not gripping me. And that's what I said. I feel like Throne of Glass really warped your expectations because you're in it after the 10th page. But like 55 pages in and I'm still setting up and I'm still getting world building and I'm just not too into it. And then I went on TikTok and I looked up how people feel about this book, and a lot of people have similar feelings that like the world building and the setup was kind of just like kind of a bit boring. I don't want to be a hater because I feel like I like Alexandra Bracken. Even though I never read a book from Alexandra Bracken, but I have her books. She wrote The Darkest Minds and I like the movie. I like the plot idea of that book. So like, I'm assuming that I like her writing, but I'm not feeling this book. I feel guilty for starting a book and then not being like, I'm never gonna finish it. So everything is just on hold. Moral of the story, these two things combined have created my reading slump. I bought and I spent a lot of money on a bunch of books at one time. And I also have a bunch of books that are on this pile that I haven't even touched. So like, I have these 4 books that I've never read before, but there's something about this book selection that is just scaring me. And I feel like these are not gonna get me out of the slump. And I think my issue might be they're all kind of the same vibe. They're all fantasy YA. I think I need something to throw me out of that so that I can hop back into it or something. Because if I read Assassin's Blade, which is the novellas of Throne of Glass, I'm still back in the Throne of Glass world. If I read Darkest Minds, this is another Alexandra Bracken book, and I'm scared that like maybe I just don't like her writing in general, so I don't want to do that. And then there's Light Lark, which I just bought this because of the controversy on TikTok. And then there was this one. So like, this was the main one I was considering, Shatter Me, because everybody talks about Shatter Me. And Shatter Me is dystopian, I believe, not really like fantasy. And it's short. It's like short and sweet. But I think the issue with this is that I still know too much about it. Like, I've watched too many TikToks about it, too many TikTok edits. Like, I know too much, so I have expectations. And if it doesn't meet my expectations, I'm gonna be pissed. I think I need something that I have no expectations about. I haven't seen any TikTok edits about it, and I'm just going into it randomly. And it needs to be a standalone. I can't do a series because it's gonna give me anxiety that I already have so many series. Like, that was the other reason that I didn't want to do Shatter Me, because Bro, there's so many books for this too, and then there's also novellas for this, so I was just like, I need a standalone. So I took to YouTube, of course. I didn't want to go to TikTok because, again, TikTok be no, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes TikTok be overwhelming me, and then I'm just like, I watched a bunch of videos about books to get you out of a reading slump, and I think it was both Destiny Sidwell and also Sarah Caroli. They both suggested this one book, The Love Hypothesis, and I think this is like a book talk book. Like, I think this was popular on Book Talk. It's different for me, and I've never seen it on the side of Book Talk I'm on, because it's a romance, and it's also like a academia romance. I don't know, but I felt like, I've never read a romance book. Never in my life have I read a romance book that didn't have magic in it. This is gonna get me out of left field. So like maybe it'll like jumpstart me into something crazy. And then they also say, it's also a standalone. And then they also say that it's like really fast paced. And I think I just need a good like cheeky romance. It's like fake dating. I don't know, it's giving like Laura Jean, but like, I don't know. But I think we're gonna go with The Love Hypothesis. I think it should be good. And I think it should be like fun, fresh, short, and sweet. And then we can move back in deciding what fantasy book we're gonna move into next. I have to go to Barnes & Noble's and I have to buy this book. I'm only gonna buy this book because I already, as you can see, I've purchased books and I'm not even reading them. But I'm gonna get to them because I purchased them. But I can't do it because it's fantasy and we're trying to not do fantasy, and it's a whole series. First of all, I'm currently in the Trader Joe's bathroom because I have to pee, but I was supposed to just get the one, but I got two because I've been seeing like this solo leveling all over my TikTok. And again, I said I wasn't gonna do things based on TikTok, but I'm sorry, like this is supposed to be a really fire manga. So I was like, you know, manga's really different. Why not give this a try? So I have these two. And that was that. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to get into this one. We're gonna start with this one, and then if we finish this one, we might try out a manga. Which technically it doesn't count. I was trying to really stay away from fantasy, but technically it doesn't count because it's like manga. So it's different. It's different. Yeah. So I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'm gonna find food, and then I think I'm meant to be meeting my cousins in the park. So hopefully I can meet them in the park and still get some reading done. It won't be too distracting. But if not, at least I bought the books. Time to pee. This is like the most serotonin I feel like I've had in months. Like, it's 90 degrees, the birds are chirping, the wind is blowing, and I'm gonna get some boba. Like, I got a Vietnamese sandwich and some boba. I normally am not a huge fan of the boba from this place, but it is what it is. We're gonna make this quick because my state of being right now is questionable. I think I'm about to do my first retwist. I'm about to like wash my hair, try to retwist it myself. So we're looking intense, but it's okay. Quick update. I'm almost halfway through the love hypothesis. I'm on chapter 9, page like 153, which already I feel like this is accomplished part of what I needed to accomplish. Like we've already gotten more than 50, pretty much like 100 more pages than I was getting in with lore, and it's only been a day. So like that already I feel like has gotten me out of the slumpiness, and this is definitely something that I'm gonna be able to finish. I don't have a rating for it yet, of course, because I haven't finished it, but I never really told you guys the vibe of it or the synopsis. Basically, it is about this PhD student, Olive Smith. It's also like an academia, women in STEM type novel, which I kind of knew based on like the beakers and stuff and like the science on the cover. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like science romance. You know, I don't really relate too much. So a lot of the times in the book, some of the stuff she says or her experiences, like I don't relate to, because she's also like 26 and the guy is like 30 something, and I like, it's a little bit hard for me to get behind romances with 30-year-olds because like I just can't picture 30-year-olds that way, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm still a little bit too young for that. Basically it's about Olive, and she's this PhD student at Stanford. She's studying, I don't know how STEM works, but like I think she's studying something about pancreatic cancer. And then there's this Professor Adam Carlson, and he's like, it's basically like a grumpy sunshine vibe, like grumpy sunshine. So he's like this grumpy, mean, antagonistic professor, but of course not to her. She's trying to prove to her best friend that she's in a relationship or that she's dating somebody. Insert grumpy Professor Adam Carlson, and they start fake dating. Now, I have never in my life read a fake dating situation. I'm questioning if I really like the fake dating trope. There's some points where I'm just like, this all could be avoided. Like the plot isn't really necessary. Like none of this was kind of necessary, but then I'm trying to like push that away because it's a fun book so far. Like it's fun, it's fresh. I've had moments where I'm like, I haven't laughed out loud, but like, you know, I've done the little like while I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I've smiled at the book. I never told you guys about Solo Leveling. I believe that they're going to be making it into an anime very, very soon. I guess I was like, I could wait for the anime, but also like, I'm just really obsessed with the idea of this storyline. Known as the weakest hunter of all mankind, E-rank hunter Jin-Woo Sung's contribution to raids amounts to trying not to get killed. Unfortunately, between his mother's hospital bills, his sister's tuition, and his own lack of job prospects, he has no choice but to continue to put his life on the line. So when an opportunity arises for a bigger payout, he takes it, only to come face to face with a being whose power outranks anything he's ever seen. With the party leader missing an arm and the only healer a quivering mess, can Jin-Woo somehow find them a way out? I think this book has demons, and I love a good demon moment. I am a whore for a demon plotline. Like the dark and twisted, morally ambiguous, like, oh! And I think this main character has that type of vibe. I think I find a lot of inspiration for my own writing in anime specifically, just because I think anime has no bounds. It has no, what's the word I'm looking for? Like no restrictions, because it's animated, and it's just I love the storylines that are created with anime. Like I think they're just like Attack on Titan. I started watching Attack on Titan recently, still not even halfway through the first season, but like a storyline like that, like I can't see that playing out in like a regular novel, but it plays out in anime perfectly. I look different. I finished my hair. I finished it like a few days ago. I am still getting through this book, but it's not for like a reason of like, oh, like I'm trying to get through this book. I mean, maybe like 10% is that. It's just been like so much going on. Basically, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw the stories. But I've been keeping up with like all the Coachella business because I knew that Labyrinth was gonna be performing at this year's Coachella. And if you don't know, like he is my favorite artist of all time. I love Labyrinth. I had to stay up until like 1 a.m. on Saturday because he was performing like 10:30 Pacific time. So like I was like, okay, I'm staying up. Watched it live, cried. Like bawled my eyes out. If you saw it on my story, like I was literally crying on my Instagram story. It was just such a beautiful performance. And then he brought out Miss Billie Eilish. And I love a good Billie Eilish. She's just so cute. Like I just love Billie. I love Billie. I watched that and you may be like, why does that matter? That literally traumatized me, I think, for like the next day. Like traumatized in the sense of like, I cried myself to sleep and then I was just watching TikToks the next day and then kept crying because I was like, how did I not get to experience this? Like I feel like I'm kind of deserving of being able to experience this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like other people got to experience this and I did it. So I was recovering from that. I kind of like slowed down on the reading. But like I got back into it last night and I stayed up until like 2:30 last night reading, which is probably bad on my part because then I had to wake up for an 8 a.m. this morning. Okay, but luckily it was online, so I did it from my bed, but still, it's the principle. This book is not YA. It's not YA. I think I told you guys in like a previous clip that this is like a YA romance, and that's why I was like, ooh, like I don't know. It's not YA. This is adult. I just passed chapter 16, and that's why I had to close it up. That's where I had to be like, what just occurred? What did I just read? There's definitely like heavy spice in this. So, but like, I think it's just one chapter, but still, it's an 18+ book, which is like, I watched a YouTuber talking about these romance books, these adult romance books. I don't know why I put it in quotes, because like, it's adult, it's got adult content. But like, also, before reading it, like, if chapter 16 wasn't in it, it would be YA. Like, there's no cursing. It feels like they're in anyways, I'll give my full review later, but I just wanted to say, it's an adult book. And I was shook because this cover does not give that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like these romance books be making the covers, and this cover is giving a middle schooler could read this and enjoy it. A middle schooler could not read this. A middle schooler could not read this. time. Like, it is more than time to finally talk about these books. I am obsessed with booktubers, right? Like, I love watching book YouTube videos. I am just not comprehending how they're reading like 4 or 5 books in the span of a week. It took me an entire week to get through one, and it's not even that long. It's not even that dense or hard. This one also, but like this one was fast. Like, I already know that I'm like a slower reader, I think. Like, I'm like, I've never like measured my like page per minute or something like that, but I'm pretty sure I'm a slow reader compared to other readers. But I think on top of that, I just get really distracted. Like, I should have had finished this book in 3 days. Like, I could have finished it in 3 days. It's just, I get so distracted. Like, I started back school. I was on spring break, and that's when I was like, okay, we're doing good, because I was on spring break. I had nothing else to do. I was like, let me just read. School starts back, and I'm like, all of a sudden I have homework. I'm like, the last thing I need to be doing right now is reading a book. I need to be doing my homework so I don't flunk out of college. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, it's my first book video, so like, cut me some slack, but I am not comprehending how the booktubers are getting in 6, 7, 8, 9 books in one video. Like, it's gonna take me a month. We're actually gonna start out with solo leveling real quick, just to knock it out, because I don't even think this really counts. Like, I don't think this really, like, no. Bro, I've literally, first of all, to start, I have been trying to take the the best care of this book since I got it, because it's just gorgeous. Like, it is stunning. It's beautiful. I'm not really aware. I know I said that this is a manga, and you guys were probably screaming at me because it's not a manga if they both open the same way. Like, a manga is supposed to open the other way. So I went on the internet and they said it's basically just a graphic novel. Like, it's just a webcomic, but it's based on an actual novel. I don't know if it's like a Japanese novel, but I'm pretty sure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this isn't called a manga because it opens like the American way of opening a book. It was fire. I finished it in an hour because it's literally just like looking at pictures and reading like, 5 words on a page. But the art design and the drawings in this are just really gorgeous, and I cannot wait to see this adapted into an anime. I'm really crossing my fingers that happens and happens soon, because this is gonna eat up as an anime. Also, it's not necessarily the plot that I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was just gonna be like, for some reason, based on what I've been seeing on TikTok and stuff like that, I thought that this was just gonna be like a boy possessed by a demon, which I was here for. It's giving, at the end of this volume, which this is gonna have to be like my treat type of book, because it was expensive. It was expensive, but like, I get it, gorgeous, but it was expensive. And literally, it was like 1 30-minute episode of an anime. Like, it was just volume 1. Babes was short, and it was expensive for sure. But, so it'll just be like my little treat. But, what was I saying? By the end of it, I was like, this is giving Sword Art Online vibes. And I didn't finish what is it? Sword Art SAO. I didn't finish SAO. I got through like a few, like I think a season. I don't know. But this is giving that, where it's like, it's a video game. Like towards the end of it, it's like, it's a video game. Like, I wasn't expecting that. And I don't think that's a spoiler, because I think I was supposed to know that. Like, it's called solo leveling. Leveling up the video game. Let's get into this. The book that I've been reading for the past week that didn't need to take a week. What did I rate this book? I rated this book a 3 out of 5. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. I had so many people, when I posted this on my Instagram story, so many people were like, I love this book. This book is so great. One of my favorite books. So please don't kill me. Like, if that was you, don't like, I'm not hating on your opinion. This is just my vibe. Kind of got catfished. I let myself get catfished though, because I wasn't in the YA section when I picked it up. But for some reason, I looked at it and I was just like, oh, YA. I got catfished in the sense that I wasn't expecting the spice to happen in this, because also, I think I said this before. If the spice wasn't in there, it would be a YA book. I think the way that the characters carried themselves read YA. The things that they said, the language that they used, kind of felt like I kept questioning, because the characters in this book are supposed to be like 26, I don't know. I think Olive is 26 or 23. No, I think she's 26. And then the Carlson is supposed to be like 30 something. Like they're supposed to be upper 20s, mid 30s. And it was reading like if they just switched the age to high schoolers, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. The things that they were doing and saying was giving high schoolers to me. Somebody said, if the tropes that hold this book together are your least favorite tropes, you're not gonna like this book. And the tropes that hold this book together are miscommunication, idiots in love, and fake dating, of course. I don't know necessarily if I'm a hater of fake dating. This is the first fake dating book that I've read. I think it's not putting me off to a good start with fake dating. I would spent the whole thing like, you could just not do that. My entire feeling with the book was, from the beginning, I was like, you could just not. Like you literally physically like could just not. Like the entire premise of the book, which like this isn't spoilers, I'm not spoiling anything, but the entire premise of the book is basically that she just cannot communicate with her best friend, that she's not over her ex, or that she is over her ex, and her best friend, because I have issues with her, but her best friend also is not being a good listener and isn't listening to her best friend when she's saying, I'm over my ex, like you're good. Like the whole premise was just based around miscommunication and not listening to each other, and that was frustrating me because I was just like, open your ears and open your eyes and we could fix this all. And then I think also the fact that there were so many plot points and conflicts that could have been resolved as soon as it happened. The main conflicts that happens towards the end. Shorty could have resolved this in 2.5 seconds if she just opened her mouth. I tabbed these sections, and normally people tab things they like. I tabbed when I was about to punch the main characters in the face for being dumb as hell. Because what are you doing? I really don't understand the miscommunication thing, and I really hate when it happens in books because to me it takes me out of it, because I'm like, just speak. Like, you're supposed to be 26 but you can't express how you feel? Girl. It just took me out of it. Like, it took me out of the realism. Like, maybe I would have believed it if they were like 16 and they were like struggling this bad to tell each other the truth. But like 26, 30, and you're still... Yeah. If the book is for you, it's for you. I just don't think that the energy was for me because it was more of like a cutesy vibe. I'm not really into like the cutesy type of romances because like a lot of the dialogue was like making me like cringe. Like I was literally like physically like cringing in my soul. You know, the trope is also supposed to be like grumpy sunshine. Like the girl is sunshiny, like happy, and the guy is grumpy. But she was just giving me like irritating with her Starbucks orders. Like, you're irritating me, not gonna lie. Like, she was kind of irritating me. So it was more like irritating and then just like quiet guy. And then the best friend. That's all I have to say. If you've read the book, comment. Did you, like, first of all, get a new best friend. Like, literally get a new best friend. The best friend that the entire book is revolving around, that you did all of this fake dating for, sucks. I found myself every time she was coming on the page, I was getting annoyed with her because she doesn't have boundaries. She's pushy, and I didn't like her. I didn't like her as a friend. I didn't think she was supportive as a friend. I liked Malcolm as a friend. I think if the storyline was surrounded about Malcolm wanting something, I'd have been like, cute, fun, fresh. But like, I had no sympathy, no empathy, no care for that best friend. Oh, and then my final statement was that it kind of felt like reading Wattpad fan fiction. I'm a Wattpad writer myself. That is no shade. But we all know the Wattpad writing style, where it's like kind of like that breaking the fourth wall-esque, like overly self-aware about the fictional tropey world that you live in, so much so that you're like feeding into those tropes. And then also the smut. Is it called smut, or is it just full-on crazy scene? That read very much like Wattpad, because to me it felt like out of the blue and kind of it just felt displaced for what the characters were saying they wanted. It didn't feel like it matched. And that was my rating. Don't let that sway you, because if you're into all the stuff that I said, if you're into like a cutesy kind of like just like a rom-com, like a cutesy vibe, that's like not too serious, not serious at all, then this might be your vibe. The point of this video was to get me out of a reading slump, and I'm out of it. I'm out of it, so we were successful. Don't know what I'm gonna read next, but I'm like ready to get back into fantasy, and I'm ready to get back into like dystopian, my type vibe, like my vibe, because like I love romance, and all I really do when I read these fantasy books is talk about the romance. Like that's normally my favorite part, but I think I need those stakes, I think is what I realized. Like I need the stakes of I'm fighting for you and I'm literally burning down the entire world, literally. Like physically, I'm killing everybody because I love you so much. I need Damon Salvatore level of stakes for me to be like feet kicking, toes curling. The romance between Selwyn Kane and Brianna Matthews. Ah! The chokehold that has on me. The chokehold that has on me. But like, if that was translated into just like a regular real world where like Selwyn wasn't a demon, he wasn't gonna go crazy and kill everybody, and Brianna wasn't a king, like if all that was in there, the stakes would be lower and I probably wouldn't care as much, but all of that just adds. You know what I'm saying? Like it just adds. Let me know if you read The Love Hypothesis and your feelings. Like, am I crazy? Or did you kind of like understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. So I'll see you guys next time.